It's not like homosexuals. Homosexuals or LGBTQ have been thriving because of the executive order which allowed them or allowed people to just identify their gender as they willed. And let me tell you, the genesis of this thing is very unfortunate. You know, some people in the UN Commission for Human Rights just decided one day that they are going to sit somewhere without the mandate from the UN itself. They are going to sit somewhere. And they sat somewhere in Yogyakarta, some city called Yogyakarta in India. And they decided to call themselves human rights specialists, sex and sexuality. And out of that, they came up with the Yogyakarta principles. And that is where they said, gender is different from sex, which you know is scientifically not true. You get it? And so they said, your gender is subject to your sexual orientation and gender identity, Sogi. That your gender is what you feel you are, each time, each minute. And that your gender has nothing to do with your biological sex. It has nothing to do with your dressing and what you do. And so I entered here as a male, and you can see a male. But if I say from now I identify myself as a female, you must address me as she and as a female and give me all the privileges of a female, simply because against all science I've identified myself now as a female. This thing went crazy. And I can tell you as we speak, in pursuit of that nonsense, we currently have 157 gender categories. I don't know whether you've seen weddings where a person goes with a crocodile or an alligator and says, this is my spouse and we have to be wedded. Some madman even took a priest to court for refusing to wed him with a dog. And he says he's identifying himself as a dog. Recently you saw the traffic in the United States stop some gentleman on the road, and on being asked to produce his license, as a driving license, he said he's a cat. I'll show you the videos if you've not watched them. So luckily this gentleman said, well then I have to charge you, because cats are not allowed to drive under the laws of the United States. And you saw them now looking at themselves in the car there, human beings calling themselves cats. And so I want to say that that category is different from intersex. Okay? Administratively, I sit in the Administration National Security Committee, under which registration of person falls. Okay? And we had allowed for the registration of intersex persons. But I can tell you, even that has been out of mistake, because you remember those some intersex persons went to court, and so there was a court order for their registration. What I've explained to you is that even if you look at those cases, those are cases where at birth these people appeared to be in a category. Okay? And I can tell you, because I'm speaking to the public, I cannot give you the full details. But intersex persons are persons whose genitals from birth appear ambiguous, so that you may not know with clarity whether they are male or female. What you do, if you are a science person, is that you wait for puberty. Because at puberty, if you are male, in spite of how your gender appears, your chest will broaden, your voice will break, and you will start having wet dreams. That is what our children are taught. If you are female at puberty, okay, your hips will, your breast will grow, and you start to menstruate. So the cases we had were cases where a person, for instance, is male, but they look like girls. So they start wearing dresses. Then midstream, they realize they are male because they start now having wet dreams or producing the male cells. Okay? And so they have a problem. They had registered themselves as female, but now they realize they are producing the male cell. So they ask for change. So the thing is, wait until puberty, and then the gender is assigned. So for people whose genitals are clear, the gender is from birth. You can see it. And it is male or female. Where you are intersex, you wait for puberty, and then gender is assigned based on what your bodily chemistry, aligns you to. And so those are cases where we had people identify themselves this, then later on, they are to change. So to answer you shortly, with this clarity, now come from the United States of America leadership, which has been the agent of confusion in this matter. Even the intersex category in terms of registration of persons is something we are going to do away with. And I'm going to push for it in that committee in which I continue to sit.
That's the question, Mahesh.
No, two things. Number one, the legislative authority of the people of Kenya is vested in Parliament, not the executive and not the president. And so on the matter of this legislative action or step, I don't need to meet the president. I will process it through Parliament in the manner we have been doing. And I've just clarified that it is clear to me that there were interventions which led to the delay in this bill. And I've also said that those interventions have now been eradicated by the new leader of the United States, and not just in word, but by executive order. What I want to request the leadership of Parliament is that even if the family protection bill were to be limited only to the issues Trump has agreed to, please allow it now to reach the floor so that as leaders we can have our vision for our country and our people also implemented by that enactment. I want to deal with